Hey everybody, Tracy Monty Smith with SE Coaching, and again, welcome to another episode in our video series. I love doing this every week. I love the fact that so many of you out there are watching this and listening to this and getting so much out of it. But mostly I love the interactions that you guys give to me. Make sure you continue to leave comments. Shoot me an email at Tracy, Tracy, at secoaching.net. Let me know if you disagree with what I've said. Let me know if you do like what I've said. It helps keep me on track and make sure that I'm providing information that you guys want and need to hear. Also, make sure you take the time to go over and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you'll get a notification every time a new video comes out and you won't miss a single one. Whether you're watching it or whether you've just popped in those earbuds and you're listening to me on your walk or while you're driving on the road, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Before we get started on what we're going to talk about today, I again want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Greg Bodby with Total Symmetry Personal Training. I have been working with Greg for a number of weeks now and have really noticed a huge change and a huge difference in the way I feel and in my strength and in my ability to get through my day a little bit without feeling that yucky, tired kind of thing at the end of the day. Really cool working with Greg virtually is that I get to do it on my time. I don't have to worry about finding the time to make sure that I can take the couple of hours to drive into town, do my workout, get back in the car and drive home, when I can just go ahead and do it and fit it into my schedule and what works best for me right here at home. It's amazing. I really encourage you to give him a try if it's something that you want to do and you don't want to go work out in the gym, or even if you do want to go work out in the gym, Greg will give you a workout that works for you and what you want to accomplish in your life. You can get a hold of him at totalsymmetry@gmail.com. Give him a try. So today, I had an interesting thing happen to me the other day. I actually had a person ask me a question, and they asked me, they said, what is it that you as a coach, or you, Tracy, get out of all of these different things that you do with your horses and working with your horses? And I found that to be a really interesting question, and it was one that I hadn't really thought about, because each one of the disciplines that I do brings a different dynamic into my personal life. So, little background. Most of you know that I have 4 horses in my herd. I have Merlin, Simon, Ellie, and Peaches. And all 4 of them participate in my horsey world in one way or another. So, one of the things that I do with my horses is, yes, I am an equine assisted life coach, which means that I get to be a life coach, and then I get to offer to my clients this amazing experience to go and have an experience with the horses during their life coaching session that brings amazingness to whatever it is that we're working on. All 4 of the horses, Merlin, Simon, Ellie, and Peaches, work on a regular basis with my coaching clients. My private coaching clients generally only work with 1 horse at a time. There's no horse experience needed. There is no riding. And then my workshop clients, we actually have at least all 4 of those horses that are there at the workshops. Sometimes I have a guest equine coach that I may bring in to also work with my life coaching clients during the workshops. So they may be working with anywhere from 4 to 5 or even 6 different horses, not all at the same time, but they have the option throughout the weekend to be able to interact with more horses, and that's a really cool experience also. The second thing that I do is I give a very limited amount of riding lessons. My youngest one is 4.5 years old. My oldest riding lesson, I'm not even gonna say how old my oldest riding lesson is. But that is something that Merlin and Peaches participate in. Peaches, being a mini horse, works really good with the littles, which is I call them, which are my 4 and 5-year-olds, and because she's just the perfect size for that. And Merlin gets to work with some of the older kids. It's a very, very special deal when you get to ride Simon or work with Ellie, because working with some of my show horses that's a big special treat, because that just really doesn't happen very often. But the horses really love it. Boy, they love working with the kids, as do I. And the third thing that I do with my horses is I've mentioned briefly that I do have show horses. So I do train and show horses. I have a very, very limited amount of outside training horses come in, and sometimes I don't have any. It's just getting harder and harder and harder to fit that into my schedule, putting in that time and effort to work with those training horses. But Simon and Ellie, and Merlin also goes along sometimes to the shows and works with some of the lesson students. But so I do put in a lot of time also working and keeping them ready to go into the show pen and perform at their best abilities. But back to the question was, what do I get out of it? And each one of those 3 things that I do with the horses, I get something different. So to answer the question, in working with the training horses and working with my show horses, I think that the biggest thing that I get out of that is realizing that connection in working with a 1,200-pound animal and having that kind of connection in asking them to perform in whatever that performance might be. They've definitely taught me patience. It's an emotional connection when you're working with these animals. It's really, really hard to describe, because you become a team, and you become 2 sentient beings working together to accomplish a common goal, and whatever that goal might be. They've taught me patience. They've taught me awareness, because, oh, good Lord, if you're not paying attention and mindful and in the moment, that's when you end up face planting into the dirt. And paying attention, and just little messages that they send to me every single day. I have learned that, like I said, that awareness in the way that they're moving, and I've gotten so that, I can tell in an instant if they're not feeling good, or if something hurts, or even if they're just kind of just not into it at that particular time. And so having that kind of close connection and working physically with the horses as well as emotionally and mentally has been a huge gift to me. In working with my writing students, boy, the gifts in that are gifts that I can hardly even begin to describe, because I get the gifts not only in working with the horses and listening to the messages that they have to send to me around whoever is riding them, but I also get to work with these kids and adults and work through and building self-confidence and working through some fear-based stuff. My writing students get a good healthy dose of coaching at the same time, and it is such an honor to be able to have that kind of emotional connection again with the 3 of us as a team, and to be able to share my knowledge in working with the horses and to pass that on to other people that are interested in doing it. It is a gift beyond description. It truly is. And the pride and the joy when I watch one of those kids or adults do something new that they never thought they could do is indescribable. It truly is that pride that wells up. And I'm proud not only of my student, but I'm usually very proud of my horses, because they have held that space and helped bring that student along to that particular point. But in working with my little girls and seeing that confidence is mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. In working with adults who are working and dealing with a lot of fear, and having them have a big breakthrough is again, it is amazing. Working with my little boys, totally different than working with little girls. They tend to go out on that limb a little bit farther and a little bit faster, but they have taught me so much about who I am and how I have to change up my communication styles and my communication levels, verbally and non-verbally, for each one of them. And they all bring something different to it. But the life coaching with the horses is something that I've been training horses and I've been giving riding lessons since I was small. I started showing horses when I was, I think, 8 or 9 years old. I started giving riding lessons when I was, in my early teens, 12, 13, 14 years old. So the life coaching part of it is something that's a little bit newer in my life. And it has brought to me something that I didn't realize was missing. And that is in the awareness of myself and that deeper understanding and seeing the messages that are around me in the world. And the horses are a beginning of seeing those messages and hearing those things that the world and the universe has to teach me and to say to me, because we have to be so present and so mindful with the horses because they demand that. They won't interact with you if you aren't. So they're able to really teach that awareness and teach that mindfulness and bringing it more into your life. And it's a good way to start that journey in the rest of my life. And so what that has brought to me, I keep using the word indescribable because it is so hard to find the words to explain what I get out of this. And that was the original question, right? Was what do I get out of it? I think it's for the life coaching part of it is definitely that awareness and that mindfulness and hearing of the messages in working and interacting with the horses that also transcends into the other disciplines that I'm doing with my lessons and with showing the horses. So the life coaching is what has really put the bow on the package as far as I'm concerned. It really kind of finishes off all of the things that the horses have brought to my life in the other disciplines. So I don't know if that answered the question. I know that I can get a little rambling when I'm talking about this stuff because it's just so emotional. It's so powerful for me. And it's just something that I am so truly, truly passionate about. And I am so lucky that I get to do all three of these things. I love showing, I love training and working with young horses. I love working with my little riding students as well as my adult riding students. And of course, it is an amazing, and I am so privileged and honored to be able to work with my life coaching clients that also choose to work with the horses in their sessions. So that is it. That is the answer to the question. I know we went a little bit long this time, so and next week I believe is going to be a little bit shorter, so I'll make up for it. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great one. See you soon.